Hello, I am Shannon and welcome to today's video. So today we are going over Disney Genie Plus. So it has been about a week since Disney Genie Plus first launched. So I did post a video on Monday, October 18th about kind of what we knew about Disney Genie Plus and what was going to be included, etc. But since then it has launched and I have been following Twitter, Instagram, everybody, trying to follow and get all the details to put it all in one video, and that's what I'm doing today. So it has been about a week since it launched. I personally have not used it because we have not gone to Disney World. We are going at the end of November for our annual trip, and I'm trying to learn for ourselves. For our own family, and we do plan on using it. I have mentioned that before, but there's definitely some strategies and some things, and I've also been explaining it to friends who are planning trips, and so I've kind of developed a kind of Q&A, which I'm going to go over today. Okay, so the first question I have been getting is, what's the difference between Genie and Genie Plus? And this video is specifically about Genie Plus, but I'll talk a little bit about what Genie is. Genie is the free service that is being given to everybody. And basically you can kind of plug in and you can play with it before you get there. So that's something you can do. And you can say, like, I like Star Wars, I like princesses, you know, we want to do these attractions, we want to eat at Pecos Bill, we want to see Disney Enchantment, whatever you want to do, and it's going to optimize. However, you can only put, when I tried to play around with it, at that point it was maxed out at 8 things. So you can only max out at 8 things. I will probably not use this, to be honest, because one, I'm just a veteran of going to the Disney parks. I kind of know what we want to do and how to do it. And if I'm going to use a service, I'm probably going to be using touring plans. Touring plans is what I've been using. It's what I'm used to. And it's kind of tried and true, and I've used it. Now, touring plans is a subscription service. It costs $18 a year for the first year, but it works. So I kind of feel like you get what you pay for. The early reports of Genie and watching a lot of touring plans videos comparing, they've been doing essentially head-to-head comparisons where two people are in the parks and they've kind of said, these are the things we want to do. One's doing a touring plans and one's doing a Genie. And they're going head to head, and the touring plans person is usually doing a little bit better. So I encourage you, I will post a link to a couple of those videos below or to their channel. Definitely take a look at those if you're looking for more information about Genie specifically. The rest of this video is going to be about Genie Plus. So Genie Plus is essentially, think of Genie Plus as the old Fast Pass, right? It is the paid service. It is $15 a day per person plus tax to use the Fast Pass, to get Fast Passes, except for 2 headliner attractions in each park, which we'll talk about later. So the Genie Plus is to get those attractions. And if you want to know what those attractions are, look at my video from October 18th. I'll post a link, actually a card right here, and I'll post a link below as well. I go over kind of the specifics of which attractions. But again, so it comes out to $15.98. That was a surprise on the 19th because usually Disney incorporates the tax into those fees. This time it didn't. It's $15 plus tax, so it's essentially $16 a day per person. And it's going to give you access to those Fast Passes. So that's the difference between Genie and Genie Plus. Genie is free. Genie Plus is not. Genie Plus is going to give you access to those lightning lanes. That's the new term, lightning lanes, with the exception of 8 key attractions, 2 in each park. Next question was, can I pay for Genie Plus before my trip? And the answer is yes, if you have a vacation package, and then you have to pay for your entire trip. So let's say you have a vacation package and you have a 6-day ticket. You can't say, I only want Genie Plus for 4 days. You then have to buy it for all 6 days. So personally, and there's really no advantage to buying it beforehand, except it's going to probably save you 10 minutes. Otherwise, you have to buy the day of, which starts at midnight. So if you just set your alarm, wake up midnight, or maybe you're still up. Me, I'd have to set my alarm, and you buy it, and then, or you just wake up at 6:30, to make sure you purchase it, and then you're ready to go at 7. So pre-purchasing, you can only do it if you have a vacation package and you buy the entire, length of your ticket. So I just talked about 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. is the key time. So just like that was the key time for boarding groups, and it still is for Ratatouille, but 7 a.m. is the time that you can start booking your first Lightning Lane attraction. So you can start booking your first Lightning Lane for Genie Plus, and you could also start booking your first individual Lightning Lane. So just a reminder, those are at Magic Kingdom. It's going to be Mine Train, Space Mountain. Epcot is going to be Frozen Ever After and Remy. Sorry if you hear my son screaming. He's 5. Next is going to be at Hollywood Studios, Rise of the Resistance, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And then at Animal Kingdom, Flight of Passage and Expedition Everest. So those 8 attractions we're going to talk about in a second. But everything else, you can start booking your your Genie Plus attractions at 7 a.m. And originally it was thought that you had to be an on-site guest to book at 7 a.m. Actually, for the Genie Plus attractions, what I'm hearing now is you can book at 7 a.m. regardless whether you're off-site or on-site. And you can book. So the strategy I would say is book those ones like Slinky Dog. If your Slinky Dog is going super fast, so you want to book it right at 7 a.m., and then anything specific. And Slinky Dog is the one that seems to be going the fastest for the Genie Plus attractions. Then for the individual Lightning Lane attractions, those can be purchased at 7 a.m. only if you are an on-site guest. Then at 9 a.m. they are open to off-site guests. Now, originally, and this is where I was going to say things have changed a little bit. Originally, they were being released at 7 a.m. for on-site guests. And then at 9 a.m. they were kind of holding back some. So, at 8:55, the first available was like at 5 o'clock. And then at 9 a.m. they were back to 10 o'clock. So that has since changed. So it seems now that they're no longer holding back key times, earlier times. So people that are booking off-site right at 9 a.m., their first available times for a ride like Rise of the Resistance is at 5 p.m. So keep that in mind. So if you're off-site, you're definitely at a disadvantage for those individual Lightning Lanes. However, if you're off-site and you're only doing Genie Plus, it appears that you can book your first attraction at 7 a.m. Next question is, when can you book your next attraction? So essentially, you can book your next attraction after you've scanned in. So if you have a Magic Band, you just scan in, kind of like you did with the Fast Pass, and then you could book your next attraction while you're walking through the queue, or the next after 2 hours. So 2 hours doesn't start at 7 a.m. 2 hours starts at the opening of the park. So if the park opens at 9 and you booked an attraction at 7 and your first attraction, let's say, isn't till 11:15, then you can book your next attraction at 11 and then go on and so forth. So it gives you an idea. So you have to wait. It's 2 hours after the park opens or after you've scanned into the attraction. And then for each attraction after that, it's 2 hours after you booked it, or if you've already used it. So if you, like, let's say you book an attraction and it's, in 45 minutes, then once you scan in, go through that attraction, then you can book it. And a good strategy is just scan in, and as you're walking through the queue, start booking your next attraction. Next question is, will Genie Plus and Lightning Lane work during early entry and extended evening hours? So as you know, one of the things that's new is that all on-site guests get in a half an hour early, which is really, really crucial, and a really great head start And then deluxe resort guests get an extra 2 hours at Epcot on Mondays and 2 hours at Magic Kingdom on Wednesdays. So Genie Plus Lightning Lane do not work during those times. That was the case with FastPass, and that appears to be the case with Genie Plus. Okay, the next question is, are they a length of time or is it just a specific return time? And just like FastPass, they are an hour window. So 10:15 to 11:15, 9 to 10, etc. So that's the kind of the band of window. They're still testing as far as there's a kind of a grace period. I know with FastPass, it was always a 15-minute grace period. People are starting to test that. Again, right now, I've seen both. I've seen people being let in with the grace period and saying yes, and then I've heard of people being denied. So I would say keep tracking, and I think Touring Plans, both their Instagram and their YouTube channel, is a great place because that's something that's going to be evolving. Next question is, can Genie Plus sell out for the day? So Genie Plus will not sell out. If you decide, like, you get to the park, and let's say you get to the park at 2 and it's packed and you're like, well, I'm going to get Genie Plus, they will sell it to you. However, what's left, what times are left, and what lightning lanes are left may not be much, so it may not be worth it. So they will sell it, but just keep in mind that if you're getting a late start, it may not be worth it. There may be a lot of sold out. Now, as far as individual lightning lanes, those are absolutely selling out. We've seen Rise of the Resistance sell out pretty much every day. So those individual lightning lanes are selling out. But Genie Plus will not sell out. Now, something that's different than it was with FastPass is that you can only use a Genie Plus once per attraction. So if you go on Peter Pan and your child says, I want to ride again, you're in the standby queue because you cannot get another lightning lane attraction for Peter Pan once you've used it. The same thing goes for the individual lightning lanes. You're limited to 2 individual lightning lanes per day. Now, they can be in 2 different parks. You could do Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios and Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom, but that's your 2. You can't go to Magic Kingdom and then do Mine Train. You're limited to 2 individual lightning lane purchases, and then on the Genie Plus side, you're only limited to 1 time per ride doing a lightning lane. You can obviously absolutely go through the standby line again, but only once through the lightning lane. Now, the next question is there a penalty for booking a Genie Plus return time but not using it? And there's no penalty. It's just that if you book it for Peter Pan's flight and then you don't use it, you just can't book another one for Peter Pan's flight. You've lost it. It's like use or lose it. So if you book it and it passes and you weren't able to make it, you lose it. You cannot book another one. Next question was, can you choose the time of your first Genie Plus return? Like if you plan on arriving at your first park in the afternoon? And the answer is no. For Genie Plus attractions, you can only select the next available return time. So that's something really kind of key, because especially if you're going to get a late start, you're limited to what the next available return time is. Now, next question is, if you park hop, do you have to buy Genie Plus again? And the answer is no. So Genie Plus is per day, not per park. So it's $15.98 per person per day, but not per park. So that would cover essentially all 4 parks if you wanted to. Next question was, what happens if an attraction breaks down for the rest of the day? Like if you purchase an individual lightning lane, and with Rise of the Resistance, that's possible. So the answer was, as of now, if the ride is down during your purchase return time, the return time is extended through the end of the day. If it remains down for the rest of the day and you go to guest relations, they may provide you with a gift card for the value of your purchase. So that's the only downside. So I would say is as soon as your time comes, go to the ride, especially for something like Rise of the Resistance or maybe even Remy, that does tend to go down, because you want to make sure you get into that window, you get on the ride if it's running. Somebody did ask, what does a Genie Plus reservation time for a show get me? And for something like Beauty and the Beast, or the Frozen sing-along. And essentially it's going to get you into the theater sooner and you will get better seating. So it kind of runs like how it was with Fast Pass. You'll just basically get better seating. And with a show like the Beauty and the Beast sing-along, you do get much better seating if you do get a return time. So you'd probably be able to get in the same show, but you'd get better seating. Now somebody asked, if I'm park hopping, do I have to wait till I get to the park to buy an individual lightning lane? And the answer is no. So let's say you know you're going to Epcot in the morning and then to Hollywood Studios in the afternoon. You can get an individual lightning lane for Remy and then get an individual lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance in the afternoon. And the individual lightning lane, you can pick your time. So you can get those both at 7 a.m. Actually, with Rise of the Resistance, you better, because they're going to run out, but you don't have to wait until you enter that park. Next question was, can I cancel a Genie Plus reservation if I realize I can't make it? So the key here is you need to make sure there's, first of all, you can't modify a time. There's no way to modify. The only way to modify is to cancel and then rebook. Now you have to cancel it before the start time. So let's say it's from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You need to make sure you cancel by 9:59 that reservation. Otherwise, once it hits 10 a.m., you're locked in. So you either, again, use it or lose it. So you need to make sure you cancel before the start time hits. And the last question I was asked was, do you think Genie Plus is worth it for all the parks? And the answer is maybe. So for us, we will definitely be using it for Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Disney's Hollywood Studios. I think for us, there's definitely enough attractions that makes it useful. The fact that all of Toy Story Land is included in Hollywood Studios. Obviously, Magic Kingdom, it's going to be worth it. And then Epcot, the fact that Test Track is included in Genie Plus makes it worth it because that's my son's favorite ride. So for those three parks, absolutely. Animal Kingdom is the one that I think is probably the biggest question, because there's a lot of shows. It's the Festival of the Lion King, the Bird Show, then it's the safaris. Dinosaur never has a line. And then Everest and Flight of Passage are the individual lightning lanes. So there really doesn't seem to be a value if you're going to Disney's Animal Kingdom by itself. However, a good strategy is if you were going to park hop. My family doesn't really park hop, but if you are a park hopping family, I would make Disney's Animal Kingdom your morning reservation, because Disney's Animal Kingdom tends to be the park that opens earliest. It usually opens at 8 and it opens earlier than everybody else. And there's my son.
Hey, I wanted to say, look at this. And also look at rude. I made it do a stand up because
no, you can't stand up because you can't see you.
Okay.
See how that's what they see you.
It's called a spooky month.
Oh, okay, that's great. I love you.
I love you too.
So as I was saying, if you were going to book, do a park hopping, go to Animal Kingdom first. And this is why. You can book your first attraction at 7 a.m. But I wouldn't book anything for Animal Kingdom. So don't book any attractions at Animal Kingdom. Book, let's say you're going to Hollywood Studios. So book at 7 a.m., book Slinky Dog Dash. Most likely it's going to be for the afternoon, after 2 p.m. And then, when the park opens at 8, you'll be able to make your second attraction selection at 10 a.m., which is 2 hours after the park opening, because you're going to Animal Kingdom. So you'll be able to make your second attraction or selection at 10 a.m. because park opening is 8. And again, don't make it for Animal Kingdom. You're not going to really need it, but then maybe make it for Smuggler's Run or something else. And then you can start, and then the next one, you'll be able to make it at noon. You can make them all for Hollywood Studios after 2 p.m. after you park hop. Don't use any of the Genie Plus attractions at Animal Kingdom. You're probably not going to need it. And if you wanted to do an individual lightning lane, then do it for Flight of Passage. Probably don't need it for Expedition Everest. And so kind of stockpile all your Genie Plus lightning lanes for the afternoon. park hop over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, and then probably you're gonna have a stockpile of lightning lanes where you can just go on attraction after attraction, go on Slinky Dog, whatever you've accumulated. So you probably would have been able to get one at 7, one at 10, one at noon, and one at 2 before you. So you probably have at least 4 lightning lane attractions when you get to Disney's Hollywood Studios at 2 o'clock for the afternoon. So that would be the strategy if I were to park hop going to Disney's Hollywood Studios. To Animal Kingdom and Disney's Hollywood Studios. That's what I would do. And the same thing, but if you were going to park hop with Disney's Animal Kingdom, do that in the morning. Don't use any of the Genie Plus at Animal Kingdom. Use it for whatever park you're going to in the afternoon, and then just kind of stockpile them. So that way when you park hop, you've got at least 4, and then you can get a 5th one, pretty quickly, and you would have them all there. So that would be my strategy for park hopping and why I would get the Disney Genie Plus if I were going to Animal Kingdom. So that is it. That is all the updates that I have so far on Disney Genie Plus. Again, I am not going to be using it until the end of November, early December. I will, as always, do a vlog for our family trip, and I will document how we use it, what we used it on, as I always do, to kind of give you a realistic expectation. But again, so much is going to change, I think, in the next week or 2 on how it's being utilized. We've already seen that Disney has been doing tweaks. I expect that to continue. So by the time we use it in late November, early December, I expect some changes even then. But this is the kind of the basics to kind of help anybody that's maybe going in the near future, or if you just kind of want to learn, you're like me and you just want to follow along and see what everything is about. But honestly, I think this is a really great service. FastPass no longer worked and it just didn't work anymore because so many people used it, and then everybody used it pretty much, and then some people knew how to work it. I knew how to work the system. We would go FastPass after FastPass after FastPass, but then you'd have people who didn't know how to work it going for these once in a lifetime trips and were left at a disadvantage. So I see the need for it to change. A friend of mine asked me, well, why didn't they just raise the ticket $15 for everybody and give it to everybody and keep the Fast Pass? And the answer is simply, they wouldn't have worked. In order for Genie Plus to work, not everybody needs to get it. It needs to be a select group of people. And that's it. And we plan to budget for it, but that's the advantage of being a Disney Vacation Club owners, because we're not paying for a hotel. We've already an annual pass. We've already paid for our tickets. So adding that extra $45 a day isn't a lot for us, but for a lot of families there are. So I would say if you are one of those families that this is an extra fee that you just simply can't afford, then I would say absolutely go to touring plans. Go to touring plans, get a good touring plan, go first in the morning, rope drop. Touring Plans has been doing head-to-head, which is better, a good touring plan or Genie Plus, a good touring plan or Genie, and they're doing videos and they're following along on Instagram, and you absolutely can tour the park without Genie Plus. You do not need it. Does it make it better? Does it make it a little bit, wait in less lines? Yeah, absolutely. But if you can't afford it, don't think that, you're not going to have a good time. It's just about planning. So I would say that's the key. And that's where that $18 a year for a subscription to touring plans is going to be worth it. So with that, if you like this video, click and subscribe. That way you get a notification every time I post a new video. Bye everyone.